So welcome to Faith on Tap, and for full disclosure, we had a bad experience at a brewery. We had some great interviews, very deep, very profound thoughts, and they didn't get recorded. Long story. So we ended up going to several other places to get the voices. You're going to hear some interesting things, and as we begin the new year, we are trying to revamp, to change the format a little bit. We're going to be talking about that. Liz, you have any words about that?
Well, just look for just a slightly different opening and a way to frame the conversations that you'll be hearing so that you can get some sort of anticipatory set of what you might hear and how you might answer the questions yourself.
Well, very good. So let's begin the podcast.
All righty then.
How do you hope to see change in you over the next coming year?
That's deep. I feel like there's going to be a lot of change.
What's one that you hope to see that doesn't involve your face going beet red right now?
Isn't it awful? I get so nervous. Probably have more patience.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
I hope that the test for patience are short and sweet.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Awful.
Okay, so, Brian, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Here we are approaching the new year, 2025. What kind of changes would you like to see in yourself in the next 53 weeks?
Try to spread my time in the proper manner instead of always working or thinking of like making sure that I make time to spend time with other people, no matter what time it is. Like my kid comes over sometimes at 9 o'clock at night from work and we'll talk until 11 o'clock at night. And then, I'd like to say, well, it's time for me to go to bed because I have to get up in several hours, but I don't. I just keep talking with her because she needs that time with me. And it's worth more to me to lose the sleep than it is to lose the time to have that conversation.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme with you, Brian.
Yeah.
Time is very important to you.
Yes.
Do you care to disclose why this whole time, whether you're talking about Christmas or the next year?
It's because I have looked at life differently since I had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So time is short and you look at things in a whole different perspective than you did before.
Yeah, because this lens is, I think it's very sobering. Before you had to deal with this, was time really something you gave a lot of thought to? Because you're still young.
I work like a dog and run around and do things. I do, especially for family. I always do things for family. They need me, I'm there.
Right.
It's put a thing on time with everybody instead of just work. I mean,
Good.
Yeah, we got to work to live and survive, but it doesn't make up time to do things.
Now, your family, are they responding to this sense of, how much you really want to spend time with them? Are they starting to see with your eyes a little bit?
Some of them, yeah.
That's good. And your daughter?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Well, she's approaching 20, as you said.
Yeah.
So that's really good. She's entering that age of, it's not all teenagers, as we know, are very solipsistic and very into themselves. And now she's going to be entering this age where it's not the case anymore.
No, she always worries about me or.
That's good. Well, she's on that journey with you in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
That's really great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
Have
it.
a good day.
Name, please.
My name is Kaylee.
Kaylee. All right, Kaylee. Here's a question. 2025 is coming. Just curious, you have any goals for personal change?
I do actually, inspired by recent commentary at a parent-teacher conference, realizing that in order for my children to get better organized, I need to model that myself. So I need to learn how to get better organized just with everything. And I don't think it's going to be hard. I think it's just going to take commitment and remembering and staying on top of things. So yeah, just
so you had to make a conscious effort.
yeah. I think not getting sidetracked, making sure that I can stay ahead of clutter before it gets ahead of me, and just being a little bit
these
more
are reachable goals.
Yeah, it feels like something that I know for myself. I have to figure it out along the way as I've gotten older, but I want to be able to take them along for the ride and help them learn these skills
Awesome.
as they're growing, so they don't end up an adult like I was, just kind of floundering and like, oh, what do I do now? So they can learn it along the way for themselves and build that strength all together.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
What kind of personal growth would you like to see in yourself in 2025?
Personal growth. I'd like to have better focus. I'd like to have better motivation. And I'd like to have better care that I spend on the things I want to dedicate myself to.
How do you do that?
That's tough. I will find, especially in my workday, motivation and focus difficult to achieve. Without having a lot of passion for my current job, I find motivation, personal motivation, to be fairly tricky. I am actively searching for a new job, and hopefully it could be one that has more personal meaning to me, one that has better teamwork, better togetherness, better accountability for what I'm doing. And having more attention put on what I'm doing by others forces me to put better attention on what I'm doing as well.
So it's reachable.
I sure hope it is.
We'll hold you to it.
So here we are talking with Scarlett. So how are you today?
Good.
What would you like to see you do to make yourself a better person this year?
I feel like I would like to do more practice in things that I need work at, and
For example, what are some things that you want to be practicing more?
like I just want to practice basic things like math facts and things that I could use to put for school. I just want to focus more on those.
Okay, that's very
and put
good.
more effort.
I love that. And how old are you again?
8.
Okay,
Oh,
so everyone listening, this is an 8-year-old. Just saying. Thank you very much, Scarlett. So, Autumn, you heard the question that your sister had.
Yep.
So the question, I'll just repeat it for you. What is some change you would like to see for yourself in the coming year?
I don't really know. I feel like I would personally want to try to feel like I'm a little bit more focused on like the optional practice problems that I get before tests, because
Very nice.
sometimes like I feel like I want to get better at doing the things that I don't need to do but would still be helpful,
Okay.
because I realize that they do help me when I do them, but I often want to do something like, I don't know, like reading or drawing or something rather than those. And but even if they're boring, they're important. I want to put that more into perspective in 2025. But also, I can't believe that it's almost 2025 already.
I know.
Like, I can literally imagine, like, back in the beginning of the year, literally, like, needing to, like, keep a race 2023 on all my papers. And I'm, like, soon I'm going to be doing that to 2024. It's crazy.
Oh my goodness. So tell our listening audience how old you are again.
I'm 10 years old.
And what grade are you in?
I'm in 6th grade.
Okay, so folks, if you are not at this level, use her as your model, because oh my heavens, what an inspiration both of you ladies are. Thank you very much for helping us with our podcast.
You're welcome.
What's your name?
Maureen.
Maureen. I feel like I want to call you Mo, but
You can definitely call me Mo.
Okay.
Most people do.
all right. As we approach the new year,
Yes.
reflection on your part, and a look ahead. In 2025, what would you like to see changed for yourself as a whole? Any type of growth or any change?
Okay. I have a habit of waiting till the last minute, and I'm noticing that the less I do that, the happier I am. So my thing I'd like to see change, like my goal for the year, is to not wait till the last minute, not procrastinate so much, just be free of tasks by getting them done ahead of time.
How do you go about changing that?
That's a good question. I usually I used to think I need the pressure in order to get it done. Like I won't be able to do it unless it's last minute, because X, Y, and Z. I don't know how it started, but I do know that for a while, like as I finished high school and went on to get my bachelor's degree, like I would wait and then like, okay, the pressure is good. I need the pressure. But now I'm seeing like, okay, I don't really need the pressure. I can go ahead and be free and like live a happier life if I don't wait till the last minute. So yeah.
So right now, it sounds like it's just making a concerted effort to change.
Exactly. Like, all right, I can plan ahead and like look at the schedule and be like, okay, I can make time for this on Tuesday and I don't have to wait till Saturday. So
by the end of 2025, you want to see no procrastination whatsoever in your life.
At least bare minimum. I mean, some days you just need to take a break, but not as much as I've tended to over the years.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is, how would you like yourself to improve personally in 2025?
Oh, more joy.
Go on that.
I'm more through the heart space, not block it off through the heart. Sometimes you close down.
How will you plan on accomplishing that?
Well, I've been trying to work with the rose.
What does that mean?
The plant. So I have a scheduled rose meditation for a few days, and I'm doing like a dieta with the rose, and I'm going to you meditate with it, and you listen to the rose, you bathe with the rose, you drink rose.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been planning it.
Oh, planning
I have all
it.
this stuff
It's
gathered.
like you're going to start in 2025?
It's in a few days, yeah.
In a few days. Okay, that sounds interesting.
So you listen to the
where
rose
did you hear about? Where did you hear about this?
On a podcast.
Okay, so
Yeah.
sounds interesting.
So
I mean, you just choose a particular plant, and rose was just the one that you felt.
They say that rose is coming into people's consciousness more now. It's like calling people. They call it it's like right now, rose has been a prominent plant that's been calling.
Does it mean anything specific?
Softness, kind of. I think it can mean something different to everybody.
Okay.
But I think it's kind of like unconditional love and softness, femininity, like a divine femininity kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, I would say a rose, definitely. If you were to give it human qualities, I would say that sounds on point.
Yeah, and boundaries. That's a good one. Opening your heart, but having the boundaries
for
so
sure.
you can have it open.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that sounds interesting. So you're starting that in a few days, and how long does it last?
I'm going to do 4 days.
4 days. Okay. So what do you hope to see at the end of this?
Well, I want to be receptive. I kind of want to shake off when you step away from everything for a few days, I feel like everything kind of shifts. I'm going to be meditating a lot, so I think it's going to be more presence. I'm going to be connected deeper to myself rather than running on autopilot and coming up with distractions and excuses and things that I don't realize are happening. Yes, I'll tell you all day.
No, here's the thing. Most people your age don't think in those ways at all. And the fact that you're actually making a plan on how to make yourself, more accessible, but also protect yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
People don't think like that. They're thinking about making money or just, going on vacations. And you're thinking of something a lot more reflective and interesting. So that's really cool.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. And we have Liz. Hi.
Hey there, Mark.
And we have to the left, not Dennis, but we have the Guardian of Grace.
Yes.
Oh,
I will take that one.
You're getting a lot of positive feedback recently.
I thought he would. I envisioned him saying, "I'm not the guardian of grace. I like grace, but I'm not the guardian. Only Jesus is the guardian."
No, Jesus
can't
has
have a little grace.
He's given me the reins of the guardian of grace.
You're the one?
He created the grace, but he's called me to guard it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right. So the guardian of grace.
I like that one.
All right. You should have a tattoo if you have room. If you have the next tattoo, where would you put it?
On the back of my hand.
You would. Is that going to happen?
I vowed after my last tattoo that it hurt so bad because I'm old and my skin is thinning that I would never get another tattoo. But I guess it's kind of like childbearing. Once you forget about the pain, you want another one.
Do you think you'll have another tattoo then before you die?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So 2025, our question, we didn't want to have a New Year's resolution because we know 92% of all New Year's resolutions get thrown out after 60 days.
Is it that low?
Yeah.
92%?
After 60 days or 30 days, I forget. But yeah, it doesn't work. So we asked more of a generic question. How would you like to see your growth be within that year? Personally, I'll go first. I don't do a New Year's thing. I kind of think about how do I want to change, say, spiritually, intellectually, and physically. Those are my three things, area of focus that I always work on with myself before we go into any depth. But do you guys have any thoughts on that? What you think of as far as when the new year comes? Do you think at all about changing when the new year comes, or is that more of a whenever it happens, happens?
Well, last year I decided I wasn't going to have any fast food at all, and I've held to it, and here it is in the middle of December.
Really? None? Oh my goodness. What do you consider fast food?
If you can drive through and get it.
Fastly.
0.
My goodness. I think my body craves that once in a while.
RFK Jr. would not be happy with you.
True. Very true.
Be happy with me.
You're very happy.
We're getting you a silhouette to put in your fridge.
No, put it in his car because you go to the fast food place.
Oh, that's so true.
Right? Oh my goodness.
Open your wallet and there's a picture
RFK
of
Jr. take the wheel.
We can work that into a song.
Oh my gosh, that'd be
Just be
amazing.
quick. RFK Jr. take the wheel. Sorry. And a cigarette.
Any thoughts on 2025?
Yeah, I always like to, I've stopped probably within the last many years, 15 years, 20 years. I don't give anything up. I try to take something on.
We're not talking about Lent. We're talking about the new year.
Right, correct.
Right.
And so I try to take something. There's no New Year's resolution. It's more of, okay, what steps do I need to take in what area that can better me? So New Year's, I usually try to pick a genre for reading, nonfiction, fiction, theology, something like that. I haven't picked yet, so I don't know what I'll be reading next year. Even I call it Christian self-help, make you feel good books.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is. Yeah, I know. And some, one year I spent a year reading the heretics, like what modern evangelical Christianity would consider
Like the Gospel of Peter, or the Evangelion of Mary,
and the Book of Enoch and
Gospel of Thomas,
the Gospel of Thomas, and
some
even
rough reading.
Even some other writers that were in there, the writings of Brian McLaren,
Rob Bell.
Rob Bell. I've read everything that Rob Bell's written. So I like to look at how I can just expand my horizon, and I haven't really thought about it, and I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. It kind of comes to me at the end of the year, and I'm just like, this sounds good. Okay, I'll go in this direction.
I'm not too different from that. All right. Well, before we talk about what the customers at the brewery and other places stated, I wanted to ask you this question. I found a list of 8 things that people generally like to change. So I want you to rate these on your importance on a scale of 1 to 10. How important are these things in your life?
And these are
very general.
Things we want to change.
Yeah. New Year's, we call it New Year's resolution, or things you'd like to see improvement in yourself. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is you really are seeking it, 1, meh. All right. And we'll start with health and fitness. Dennis, where do you, on 1 to 10, where do you see you wanting to change or get better or improve?
I maintain a pretty consistent, low-key fitness thing, so I don't think really there's a lot of change needed.
1,
so maybe
5,
3, 5, 3,
okay.
Like right in that area.
Liz?
Probably a 6.
And I'm about 3 because I'm doing stuff all the time. Personal growth. Dennis?
My desire is a 10, always.
When you think about personal growth in 2025, is that a 10 in your head?
It's always a 10. It starts out as a 10. It's the classic New Year's resolution. But my reality is I can probably maintain about a 6 or 7 in the areas that I've decided to make changes in.
Very good.
I think it's too nebulous for me to even comment on. I can't relate to that.
Reading more books, improving confidence, developing a positive mindset, becoming more organized, productive, practicing mindfulness, meditation, self-reflection.
Can I just say the word mindfulness needs to be excised from our vocabulary? I super hate that word.
Or if you're going to use mindfulness, you'd also accompany that with what?
Demure.
There you go. Okay. Personal growth.
And here's an ad. If you want a soap that is very demure and very mindful, send me an ad.
What one do you have?
It's very demure.
The Three Kings?
And very much. No, it's actually called Very Demure.
By the way, you might be missing it. Liz does, as an artist, one of the things she does create, and since we have goats, is goat milk soap. She does have one that's called
Very Demure.
very mindful.
There you go.
But she does have one that is now sitting on my shelf in my office because it would be blasphemy to actually expose it to water. It's called Campfire and Bacon.
It's quite nice.
Which is very mindful and very demure.
mindful. But honestly, if you're not using soap, you're missing the point.
Anyway, let's go to the third biggest change that people have or would like to have would be career and education.
That's a 1 for me.
I'm at 1 now.
And I'm always trying to learn, but I don't seek to go more than what I do. So I'd go 2 on myself. Yeah, I'm pretty happy where I am. Financial goals.
Ooh, that's always a priority, and yet sometimes it lacks focus. But as a priority, I'm going to give it a 6 to 7 as a priority, not as a fulfillment of that priority.
Understood.
I don't know how to rate it. All I want to do is to make my hobbies and the things I enjoy pay for themselves so that they're not a burden to our homestead.
So it sounds like a 5.
Sure.
Okay. And since, I've been working on that for a while, I don't think about it a whole lot, maybe a 3 or 4. Relationships. Dennis.
Let me understand. So we are grading these on the importance of change
to you. Yeah, to change. Not so if they're already the most important thing, 100% on your mind, you're not going to want to improve it, but you can't because you're perfect in it.
Thank you. Finally, someone who understands me. Honestly, relationships is always something, especially as a pastor, as a guy trying to follow Jesus, it always maintains a high level in my repertoire of things I would like to work on. It's going to be a consistent 5. I know that's low, but it's consistent.
Sounds like in the middle.
It's always on my mind. There's always ways to improve. There's always things I want to make. What she said.
Yeah. Was she saying? Liz?
That's probably going to be one of the things that I think about for the new year is actually, I really do need to focus on fostering relationships better. I tend not to do that. And so some people think that I'm like standoffish, and it's really not the truth.
When you're an introvert, people don't understand.
Yeah. What they really don't understand is like, why would anyone want to spend any time with me? I'm such a loser.
No.
And then instead they think, oh my gosh, she is such a snob. And it's like, that is like the opposite of who I am. I am anything but a snob.
That is funny because I think introverts have that because they're so withdrawn into themselves. People think, they think they're great.
It's like no, I'm the opposite. So if you're listening and you think I'm a snob, come up and just say anything and I'll turn into the biggest nerd you ever saw and I will talk to you
If you
immediately.
sing for her, "Oh Holy Night," and it's good, she'll cry.
Well, that's pretty much guaranteed.
Or she sings it. Yeah. Mental and emotional well-being.
Again, consistent priority, but a priority of around 7 to 8.
I think that we do need to safeguard ourselves in certain levels. And I just have to be more cognizant that I'm not putting up a wall when I should just have a gate.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
That's really good.
Yeah, I personally, it's always important to me. In my head, it's important to me, but I'm not sure others believe that. Because of that, I guess I'd give that a 7 or 8.
Well, you're just so intense.
I am an intense person. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Y'all have
I've known you a minute, so
I don't apologize. That's how God created me, and He can use that part of me for the good.
See, that people who know you, just like when you say stuff that's super intense, they just go, and anyway, and then they move on.
And I'm good with that.
And I see people do that to you.
And I'm good with that.
And I do it to you too.
I am good with that.
I know you're good to it,
because
but
I know
some
most
people
who
don't know you will feel like they will feel like somehow they've been offended, and they totally haven't.
I understand that, but I can't change who I am.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm being your apologist right now.
She's on your side.
I am 100%
No, I wasn't
on your
saying
side.
she wasn't. I'm just an intense person.
I'm just letting people out there know that you are not being challenging to be a jerk. You're being challenging because you want people to be the best who they are.
I overthink. I put so much pressure on myself. Then I also want that in other people.
I've actually seen you poke yourself in the eye.
Physically.
Like, I got that wrong.
Oh,
a little.
Oh, sure.
Three Stooges.
Well, yeah. I don't think we did mental and emotional well-being. I'm pretty sure we did.
That's a consistent desire that I grow in. So it's
I think as we get older, this is like we have to do this, but at the same time, trying to make sure that we're sending out these little tendrils of relationship. Mm-hmm. And just being ever so careful who we're working with.
When I see mental and emotional well-being is just being fine with who you are. knowing you, who you are.
That's so hard as you get older, especially as a woman. You just see gravity working on you. It becomes a lot more difficult. My girls out there, you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Tell me. Talk on Facebook. Tell me.
Time management and productivity.
Oh, that's probably my biggest weakness and my biggest lack of focus. So the need is a 10 and the actuality is a 3.
Okay, fair.
I think those numbers actually jive, but that's actually one of the things I've been thinking about for several days is that I need to be better at time management. Here I am. We've been retired for a year and a half or so now, and I need to be better at that. It's been outrageously fabulous to be retired. I mean, Mark is less so. You're not
Because
quite
I'm
as
working
retired.
full time, but
Yeah, you're not quite as retired as I am, even though you pretended to be. I am feeling right now. I am out just like crazy with doing my retired painting right now, but I do need
Well, you're getting
to
paid for it.
I
so
am
it's
getting so
not really retired.
I
You're
know,
retired
but
from
I
your
get to
older
paint.
profession.
I get to paint dogs and cats, so not quite the same. But yeah, it's one of the things I want to think about is figuring out a better way of using my time because I am a pretty substantial time waster at some points.
I think we all could fall into that category.
Except me.
Except Mark.
Except
He's
Mark.
I put
insane.
myself as a 1.
He's ridiculous.
Well, I get up at 4:30 anyways, so but I'm productive.
What time do you go to bed?
10. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
he's
asleep
asleep
by
by 10.
10:30.
Yeah,
sleep by
easily.
10:30. I just don't worry about time management
Is
because
sleep
of who I
habits
am.
on the next?
Fortunately, not. The last one, I think you'll chuckle. Environmental and social responsibility. Where are you on the scale of 1 to 10 in improving yourself?
Zippo.
0.
I always think about how my animals are impacting the farm. So I am so happy that we figured out a way to use what otherwise would be considered a waste product and turn it into something good. Both with
and that's
the
why
goats.
I'm like a 5 or 6.
I think it's great. I
the
love
environmental stuff.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think it's good.
I have a, I
You burn
have
poo?
I have, well, better than that. I have a garden. Liz has animals, and we did it for a purpose. And it's a weird science called permaculture,
I love
where everything is integrated with everything else. The goat poop, chicken poop gets into my compost, which grows great vegetables for us to have. Anything extra goes back to the animals, into the compost.
And their actual behavior.
And
Just for people who don't know, we have what's called a high tunnel, which is like a glorified greenhouse.
Unglorified greenhouse, actually.
It's super cool. But the chickens are in there, and they're in there turning the soil, adding their own compost, and just cleaning out the parasites. It's an outrageously fabulous thing.
It's very
and everyone's
environmental.
happy. The animals are happy. Everything. It's good.
I mean, I get upset.
I feel good about it.
If I see someone driving along and throwing out a bag of garbage out in the road.
Oh, that just angers me. Yeah,
infuriates
that's
me.
just like, what is, it's just like, it could
Why-
not be in
why
your
did you
car
have to do
for,
that?
for another few minutes. What is
And-
wrong with you? You
and-
are not a good human.
When you see that, Dennis, how do you react?
What do you mean, a bag of garbage on the
Just
side
they're-
of the
they-
road?
they're
like,
driving-
you know
no, they're
what?
driving
this
along.
This thing of cigarettes in my hand, it's empty.
Or a bag of McDonald's food.
Whatever
I'm
it
done
is.
with it.
I don't want this in my life anymore. Oh, I'll
Yeah.
throw it out the window and it no longer bothers me.
I'm more of the
I hate that.
pick it up and put it back in their car at this traffic light.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
it just really upsets me when I see people treat.
Yeah, littering
World
like
like
that
that.
is there's no plausible excuse.
No, it's just that it's
Laziness.
pure selfishness.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
not even laziness. It's selfishness.
You're good people.
We
I
are the
know.
best people.
Ever.
So when you listen to the people talking about things that they'd like to see personal growth in 2025, any reactions, Liz?
I was really touched with what a lot of people said. I talked to a young lady named Sharon, and she wanted to find a way to have more patience. And I think that's beautiful. You know, so she was a young lady in her low 30s, and she wants to improve herself in that way. And I think it's outstanding. People took it very seriously when they heard what we had to say. They really didn't, they weren't kidding around. They really wanted to improve themselves, which I thought is beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. I think when Laura said, more joy, and then she went into how that was going to kind of transpire for her, and though I would not agree with her method, but her method was heartfelt. It was deliberate, it was thought out, and it was committed to. And so she's committed to this idea of becoming more joyful, which I have to think that it's not just so she's feeling happy, but she's bringing that into the context of her environment, to be infectious in that. I might be reading too much into it. I don't know, but that's kind of what I felt.
And I believe Tim, he just wanted to improve on himself. And when he told me he was in a job that he did not find emotionally or intellectually satisfying at this point, and he just wanted to have a better attitude basically towards things. I think we all could relate when we're in a job that we're not in love with, to change your frame of mind into a point where you can actually find enjoyment. And I think, Dennis, you can go a little bit further on this. In my research, I came upon a book, and you mentioned this at one of the Bible studies we had to a gentleman who wasn't happy about his job, about a book that you read about, I believe it was a monk who was a janitor.
Brother Lawrence, Practicing the Presence of God. Yes. Brother Lawrence was considered an uneducated monk in his monastery, and he got kitchen detail, and he was the dishwasher. He would wash the dishes, take the garbage out, and he ultimately came to the point of going, my time in the sanctuary on my knees in the presence of God is no different from me being elbow deep in a sink full of dishes. That there was this consistent being in God's presence, being in communication with him, something I strive someday to maybe scratch the surface of.
That's incredibly profound, because when I feel like I'm not really contributing to society, contributing to advancing the kingdom of God, I'm saying, what's the point of this? Why bother? And that, I guess, is a different lens that you have to put on yourself. How do you feel about that, Liz?
Thinking about Brother Lawrence here, I know someone who does volunteer work at an animal therapy area, and this is her opportunity to give back to something that's really beautiful. And she's like, this is like, I don't have to worry about whatever my education was, whatever, knowledge I have. I'm here, I'm moving poo around, I'm doing this thing, and it gets to do something really, really nice without. It's a way to give back without, completely anonymously. And it's kind of nice.
Henry Nouwen I look towards him about this simplicity of the Christian faith, where he walked away from being a big name pastor to work as a helper in a home that watched people with handicapped people with mental problems, with physical problems. And when he would go to speak, it wasn't like he lessened himself in Christendom or in his speaking, but he would always take people from the home with him as a reminder that he's no better, no worse off.
Perfect.
Just a beautiful statement.
Do either of you think that if you were to just focus on your own spiritual journey to get closer to Jesus, everything else will fall into place?
For me, I got to say it's happening. When we do the Bible study on Mondays, there's a reluctance to it. I have to do this thing. It's a lot of work. Yeah. It's a lot of work. But it's not like it's like, oh, you must do this one. This is the verse you're working on. I get to pick. And I've got to really struggle and fight with some really intense theological thoughts. And they resonate and they stay with me. And it's a great thing. Just to get a lesson out there for a few people to talk about for an hour and a half or whatever turns into, it's very sticky.
It stays with you throughout the week.
Super sticky.
Month,
and not just the week. It's like, here I am getting all verklempt about God with us.
And by doing that, you find other areas of your life conforming to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's super cool. It's like, oh, Jesus, look how you knew that thing. That was great.
Do we have anyone else here at this table that does that on a weekly basis? Let's see. Dennis, you're a pastor. Yeah. You do this weekly. Now, in all honesty, when you come up with a message and all, and you're thinking about how much is that internal, would you internalize it and try to practice that?
I often make the joke that if becoming a pastor, if I knew that God was expecting me to practice what I preach, I might have rethought my career decision. So yeah, you can't, I don't think you can teach or preach or expound upon God's word without it affecting you in some way, shape, or form, either drawing you deeper into it or convicting you that you haven't even went there yet or anything like that. It's this all-encompassing current that just kind of pulls you along somehow. And in saying that, I've done well in some areas, and some places I need work, but it always has an effect.
So you should practice what you preach?
Unfortunately, yeah. And I used to have a sign in my office that said, "Don't worry." I don't practice what I preach either. If it wasn't for grace and God's mercy, I don't think any pastor can be a pastor.
Any last words from anybody?
Well, this idea of becoming better in 2025, the two young ladies, Autumn and
Scarlett,
8 and 10. It was Autumn's response to the 2025, which really just kind of set me back a little bit. And she said that she wants to be better at the things she doesn't need to be better at. And I thought either she's completely crazy and she's 10 or she's wisdom beyond her years. Because how often do we shrug off the things that we take for granted every day? And how often do those things that we take for granted every day fall by the wayside in either quality or quantity or whatever it is, and to focus on things that we don't have to focus on? And I don't get the sense that she was talking about it in a derogatory way and things
Absolutely
that she's
not.
worrying about, but she just wants to be the best version of her that she can be in the big stuff where people notice, and in the, can we call it character and integrity, where people don't see. And that just kind of it still blows me away.
You don't find a lot of 10-year-olds that have so much reflection.
I don't find a lot of
built in.
60-year-olds that have
Fair enough.
And, having spoken with her before, this is not atypical. This is quite who she is. She does think this way all the time.
Oh, she sounds like she has a great future in front of us.
I
in
hope
front
so.
of herself. Yeah,
I hope so.
great. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope you started off the new year great. And I hope that by the end of the year, you can see all the growth that you have. And so,
And if you have any questions that you think we should tackle over the next year, please put them on Facebook or Instagram so we can find them. We would love to use your questions. We're running out. Honestly, we're kind of sad and pathetic. So please give us your questions.
What is it you want to know?
Yeah, for real.
thank you so much, all.
Peace.
Tune in next episode when you'll hear Dennis say,
Tune in next week when Dennis says, waka, waka, waka.